So, oh man, hold on. So, here's the thing here. Like, I am just so deterred here about the whole finance thing. They're really trying to try me, and they need to understand that I am 100% serious about banking and finance here, and the my finance areas. Um, what I am doing over my banking and finance area, is not a video game here. And what I am speaking about now is not a video game. It's just real life. And they think that they're going to come and pry in my business and think that everybody is in fun land and gaming land and things that they do, they can just blend it in there and nobody's going to pay it any attention. And when I cracked the finance book of college there, I knew that I was going to catch a lot of flack. I know that a lot of them is upset because I blew a lot of them cover. But they think that because it is not spanned across existence, that no one know, and so they can just come and retaliate on me. So now here it is. They're trying to chew into my credit score of personal and my credit score of business. So, of course, I am one that runs the legacy of Dr. Sweet Pea there. And of course, everyone is like, "Who is Dr. Sweet Pea?" And everybody's trying to find the original Dr. Sweet Pea. And that is why you make seeing a lot of sweet peas in there. Do you think that I was going to put Dr. Sweet Pea out there on Front Street and they get okay? So, but this is the thing. When I take to my undercoverness of Dr. Sweet Pea there, um, I get laughed at. And they think that I know nothing about finance and all of this stuff, and they want to bash me. And I'm not speaking about colleagues and acquaintance and hubbies and kinfolk and all of that stuff. I am speaking strictly to the finance businesses, the banking businesses, claims. And like I say, I am speaking now. And if I mention your bank, it do not mean I mean you as a whole. The banks have got to get a leash on what is going on within their departments and all of that great stuff there. They have got to get a leash on finding out what is going on within their companies, all the way down to the claims departments. And because I have been a target of the claims department for years, as personal, no matter what claim I put in as personal, I'm always falling victim to some kind of reversal. No matter if I am the winner or not, no matter if I have all my paperwork or not, no matter if I send my paperwork in or not, no matter if I have my receipt, no matter what I do, I am the victim of a reversal in personal. So these things that happen, and they usually hit me around um, pagan times like Christmas, New Year's Eve, around spring break, or in areas where there's education um, of some sort of sport, and they have to do their do back in a certain occasion, and they need to cater to their kids. These are around the time zones that I am hit. Around other time zones of pagans is when I am hit with illegal evictions. They do not want me around for Father's Day. They do not want me around for Mother's Day. They do not want me around for Valentine's Day. They do not want me around for Thanksgiving. And so those are the times that I am hit with illegal evictions. And I am speaking right now, not to the audience, not to the crowds, not to those I just mentioned under peers. I'm speaking to finance and banking representatives and those that is not in the know. Because those that is involved, that is in the know, I'm pretty sure is huddled up right now, holding their coffee, shrugging their shoulders because they agreed to do this job. They sold their souls and their business license and banking license to do this, to F people. And they get off on it. They get off on when you make those calls and you're frantic, or you're not frantic and you're wondering what's going on, and your rent is due, or your pet is about to get locked up. Oh, they like all that. So what I'm speaking about now is, why am I ranting and raving? Because they're all busted. So when I went undercover as Dr. Sweet Pea, I started off with Square Bank there because Square Bank offers a lot, and I'm wondering why. Under business, is you putting me over in education, because when I opened an account, I just was like, wow, and they have a hand in everything, all the way down to your taxes. And so I'm just like, am I going to let this bank institution pry all the way into my business, all the way down to my taxes and all of this stuff, you know? So I had to take a look over in that area and make sure that they is the team for me. So what I did was I opened my account and all of that stuff. And of course, the first account I opened, they closed it. And I was like, what? You know, really? So, along the way, along the path, along the journey, I just was getting this whole vibe of, I can't believe it's real. I know something is up. It's not true. There's not this cool. There's not this legit. You have to keep that attitude whether you like them or not. And so over there, um, you know, they should not have a hand in my business at all. They should not have a hand in my business or my business account. So my first thing were, okay, as personal, I keep losing these claims. Why? I know I'm a winner. I know I'm entitled to every piece of penny and chunk that I put in for my claim for. There's no reason for anyone to do a reversal on anything, you know? So along the way, I got one bill. No, I got my first bill from Square. And so I paid it. And then I got another bill from them and I paid it. So when I say bill, I mean like they actually I logged on and went on, and what happened? My account was negative. So I consider those bills. Did I get upset? No, I loved it. I love the interaction. I love the communication. Even though I did not know I owed, I love the fact that they put it up there and they made it negative, and I logged on and I can see, oh, okay, I know. So if I do this, I'm going to owe for that, and I paid it. And when I looked up another time and I was billed, I was like, wow, okay, so I paid it. And I was like, now my Dr. Sweet Pea is not vain. It's not worthless. It is on the move. And so that is how that go. That is the only communication that they should have with my business, and that is it. They should not be holding my funds, dipping into my funds, speaking to people on account of me, speaking to people about me. They should not be doing any discussing my account with anyone's. My account is my account. So then I went over into my business area of social, and I decided to let people into my foyer. And so I started getting people whining and complaining about that. Why is you letting people into your banking for you know what they can do? They can go onto your account. They can do this, and this. They can go all into your business and this and that. And that is how I knew that they were not banking with the same company I were banking with. And I know they wish they were because there is something with this bank known as a foyer. You only can get so far. All the things that they were blurting out that they were going to do, due to me inviting them to my foyer, I just made me laugh because I'm like, they cannot do any of that stuff. That's just a foyer. You know, the bank has it together, and that is why I kept saying their bank is too good to be true. It's too good to be true. I can let them into my foyer, and that is the furthest that they can go. The farthest they can go there. So I started hearing multiple complaints about that, and then they started running off reporting me to off-topic people and businesses and saying how they think they need to take my business and my bank account because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm letting people into my banking to go into my accounts and all this and that. And it's like it is a foyer. Stay out of my business. And why is you in my business? And how do you even know about the foyer? Because I never sent a link to anyone's actually really inviting anyone. And that is why Dr. Sweet Pea rocks. Because you start finding out as Dr. Sweet Pea that many know a lot about things that they should not even know anything about. When it comes to your banking, they should not even know. They should not even know how to log on. They should not know your password. I get that a lot too. Everybody's like, you need to change your password. It's too obvious. Nobody should even know my password. I should not have ever, in any existence, had to change my password because I have never given anyone my password to any of my accounts, any of my businesses. I've never given anyone the password. So, I mean, when I am faced with them prompting, even some of the password key companies put it up there, make sure you use a strong password because your password is too weak and too easy. Uh, I don't care about the strength of my password. No one should know it. And if they do, no one should use it. That's just how I go. Okay, if my password was ABC123. No one should type it and use it. And if you're gonna type it, you should and use it. It should not be in an ill-mannered way. So, you know, that was when Dr. Sweet Pea celebrated, when everybody started speaking about the foyer. Okay. And again, I didn't want to do away with Dr. Sweet Pea. I knew that a lot of banks and everybody were going to be trying to challenge me. And it's just like, if you can, we can too. And then if they want to get in and say, hey, well, we're doing this and that, get them an excuse and a reason to go in and do stuff and tank stuff and stuff like that. And you just cannot do that, you know? So, what happened is, you know, I veer over to other areas and off topic to other banks, and I have no problem with them. I try to keep Dr. Sweet Pea incognito because a lot of people are searching for Dr. Sweet Pea. You know, and they're just like, who is that? And this, that. And then you have impersonators. A lot of them want to just take it upon themselves to just run out and say they Dr. Sweet Pea. Is they Dr. Sweet Pea minded professional because do they know everything of the job description? You know, is they capable of being Dr. Sweet Pea? So okay, after the foyer and all of that stuff, this is the thing. Um, you know, you cannot pry into people's business. Just cannot. So then they find out about the Dr. Sweet Pea score. Were they happy about the Dr. Sweet Pea score? No. The Dr. Sweet Pea score is from 2 to 800, omitting 100. And it is the Dr. Sweet Pea score is something that I roundtabled and came up with because your credit score make you incognito to a lot of things. And your credit score at times is not accurate. And if it is just not giving the story. So the Dr. Sweet Pea score coincides with my seminar, Why Lend to Me? And a lot of people, I showed up at the bank and I showed up a couple of places with Why Lend to Me, and even online, and I got blasted and laughed at, and everybody put me in bum category and said I was begging and all this and that. And again, that is the same thing as the bank employer. They know nothing about Why Lend to Me. They just listening to the title. So I'm just like, stay out of my business. And quit putting me in these categories and having conversations about me that you do not know. These individuals just do not understand how close to the poorhouse they're nearing. You know, so speaking about things and tarnishing characters and reputation and business names and all of that is illegal. You cannot say things about things unless you have the actual facts, unless you have the actual presentations. And when you say facts and presentation, that means legal documents. It don't mean audio. It do not mean video. It do not mean word of mouth. It do not mean signatures on a clipboard. It means actual law documents. That mean transcripts. That mean any convictions. That mean any court process. All of that stuff of legal, legit media airing or non-media airing. It do not mean heavenly convictions and hell and spiritual and cultural and demonic and voodoo convictions. It cannot be you huddled up with your family and you feel like this one right here needs to be convicted. So you're gonna go on a Klan rally first, and then after that you're gonna do a home, you know, journal of a group therapy here, and put the person in the middle of a bonfire. Just do not happen like that. We're talking legal documents here. So you cannot come out and just start saying things about me. I have things dibbling and dabbling in my business with kids. And when they find out that you're great with kids or you're a great kid yourself or you have great artistic views for kids, they get nervous. Especially if they're one of those that deal heavily with kids, because they know that they're going to lose some of their kids or their fans. Their business might struggle, but everyone always want to start blurting out all kind of things with kids and ear manners and manners and all of that stuff. And you just cannot do that. You have to stay out of those lanes of ruining people's business, titles and names, a reputation, even if you're not damaging the products. And then you have those that go in and sacrifice themselves, and they know this. They know the law, but they is hired to sacrifice themselves to pay those fine and penalties, to go to jail and do the time, just as long as they can put a little smear on someone's business name and characters, or their personal life of name and character there. So you just cannot do that. And so I went and I was just like, you know what? Dr. Sweet Pea rocks. Yeah, all the way. to the bank. So, uh, my credit score uh, is outstanding. And as I speak in the conversation, I'm going to say we're um, in the categories of acceptance of Northern Owl. So if I were to add in my Dr. Sweet Pea score, it would be phenomenal, you know? So when they found out I had Dr. Sweet Pea score and the seminar while into me, they were upset. And of course, here it is. It come their crew. They're going to come and they're going to try to diminish and discredit and demote the value of a lot of things. And that was their number one aim, especially my credit. Because like I heard them blurt out the other day, as long as my credit, as long as they use my name in the sentence, is in detrimental ruin there. So it is just obvious that they're out to ruin my credibility of personal business and of paperwork there. You know, so I knew a lot of were going to get jealous and get envious. And again, we're not speaking about peers. We're speaking about your actual bank employees, your claim employees. If you only knew how jealous they can get, and jealousy in banking and finance is serious. Do you know how serious jealousy go in banking and finance? All the way to people getting kidnapped and deceased and all of that stuff, purses snatched is very serious. All the way to interruptions of their home mortgage loans and being forced to run away from their home without taking anything with them, um, in panic mode and being told that they cannot call authorities and all of that stuff. So jealousy within these areas is very serious. And again, like I say, when I began my business, I said I was not going to fall victim to any of these things. I mean victim to anything that is in business, including stress of running my business. And I was serious. I was very serious years ago, and I'm serious now. So, so I set out and I decided that I had a lot of things on my list because there were a lot of interference with me doing jotings and stuff like that and recordings and stuff about my business. And I hear too much about it and no one should know about a lot of things. My business is not on Front Street. It's a great business, prosperity, but it is not on Front Street. You know, there should not be a lot of conversation. I go online and gaming and I'm being attacked, but the game allows for attack. And I'm being attacked and I'm thinking that it is just the computer or things that's happening in the game where I'm being attacked. That, you know, maybe I need to look further into how to work my controller. But then when I find out I'm doing everything right and that it is not the computer, I'm finding that it is other people that have logged on to take me out in the video games. And they're loving every minute of it, you know? And I'm just like, really? You know, and how did you even know I was on here? And that is how it is in banking, and especially in business. After cracking that book, college book there, you'll be surprised. And so, you know, I set out to do a lot of things and I had on my checklist there because it was time for Dr. Sweet Pea to get Dr. Sweet Pea's mantle, trophy, and plaques. Yes, is what it was time to do. So, after I went on through a couple of being approved for loans and all of that stuff, Of course, I have a lot of them that I've been approved for. I did not accept. And just because I put in for a loan, you know what I mean? I'm going to accept it. Um, including credit card. And I'm not going to accept it. But at times you have to see what is going to happen there. And so I did that as well. You know, but my whole thing is do not want a credit card. I don't like that whole thing of being drawn into something and having to take forever making the payments and paying it off. I don't like that. Including I feel like that about home mortgage. I just don't like that long term stuff because, there is no telling what is going to happen in the long haul. I don't like being tied down to something like that of a long haul. And that's just crazy to me. Uh, so I knew that the priors were going to come running. I know that they're upset and they're jealous. And I know some is just like infuriated in other areas of my accomplishments and achievements there. But they were just going to be stricken to wanting to battle me in every kind of area, in every kind of way. And that is how it is. So what I did, I went undercover and oh my gosh. You is not going to believe the happenings here at all. So, my first stealth were to took my credit cards. That was my first stealth. It's like, you got to hide these. My second stealth were for me to get gain employment silently because we're talking money here. And no one wants me to have a wad of money, which is called street cash. Mostly everyone wants you to deal with what? Plastic. There's none in that paper lane. I do not like street cash. Street cash is too credible, even though they try to get you to think that it is the other way around. And so, my third thing was to steal thing and purchase my vehicle because I already know when I moved to one of my abodes, that when I purchased my vehicle, that they were going to steal the parts off. They were going to ruin my vehicle. Well, it don't take much to a rocket scientist to figure out when you have ones involved in the depreciation team that's going to come around and take your things. Right? Hey, I purchased my ring. I had a brand new ring. It was beautiful. And I know for a fact that it was a rare ring, very beautiful, and someone was going to want to attain it. And when I say depreciation, do that mean that someone is going to come and do something to it? Am I no? Yeah, they're going to go out. They're going to do hard, complete, strenuous digging on where they could find a duplicate ring. And then when they get the duplicate ring, they're going to ruin the duplicate ring. And then when I am not looking, they're going to swap it. And that is what they did. That is what they did to my ring. And I know I had a rare ring. It was beautiful, everything. And when I turn around, look at it one day, and it was ruined. And I knew then that that was not the original ring. Someone were gone all the way off into another country with my ring. And so then I decided to rock my Vera earring rings. And I say it's just going to be a matter of time before the depreciation team come in and decide they're going to take my Vera Wang earrings. And when they're out searching for them, looking high and low for the duplicate. And when I look up and find out that my jewelry is ruined, that is how I know that they found the duplicate. And they don't understand that I have abilities of ESP. I can see in here. I hear when they say that they need to go out and find this ring or they need to go out and find these earrings. I can hear them. I hear when I purchase things, Coach bags, and all of that stuff, when the guy tells them to swap it out for a knockoff. And they don't know that I can hear the depreciation team putting these hits on me. So when I look up and all of a sudden my very earrings are ruined, then I know that those were not my very very earrings. And I know that somebody's probably always in flight or at sea, bon voyaging with my earrings. Our money is not made on trees. The things that I purchased there that I just mentioned are not tax write offs. I'm not going to get my money back for these things. You know, some of these things are precious memories for me. And so I am forced, when I have these things in my possession and I'm owning these things, I am forced to have to put on a smiley face and take a selfie. That is why mostly all of my photos, I look so vibrant and happy because I have to enjoy my accessories or the things that I have all the way down to a wig before the depreciation team arrive because they're coming. So, um, there it was, my beautiful ring and my earrings just gone. And Wiz not going to even speak about my watch. Wiz not going to even speak about my watch. We is not even going to speak about my shoes. We is not even going to speak about my favorite jacket or my eyelashes or my ear piercing. You'll be surprised what the depreciation team want. You know? So here it is. Took my credit cards. I got my checklist and I'm like, bring it, depreciation team, because I am not a bell on the back of a truck about to fall off. So again, I'm not speaking to peers. I'm speaking to employees of banking, employees of claims. Maybe you should get to know them if you is not involved. So um I sneak out and head to the car lot. Of course, I'm not doing a lot of sneaking. Why? Because I were on public transportation. But you was not gonna believe all the things that happened before I got to the car lot. Oh my gosh. All the rumors and whispers. And they were like, oh my gosh, she got her buggy. She must have just got evicted. I heard she was getting evicted. Oh my gosh. Call them, let them know she's standing in front of their business and that she cannot sleep in front of their business. Oh no, she just sat down. She knows she's not going to be able to sit there all night. I'm just like, stop it already. Stop it. They phone the libraries. They phone everybody in the community. And then finally, what happened? The bus arrived. I gets on the bus and head to the car lot. Okay? And so I go to the car lot, not intending on being able to get a vehicle at that moment. Um, I knew, that I was not going to leave with a vehicle. That was not even on the list. You have to go in and make sure that you're qualified or that they have something in your area or lane or something that you want, something that they think is fit for you. Oh my gosh. So, as Dr. Sweet Pea, I knew that by the time I leave the car lot and head back home on public transportation, that there is going to be a leak that I went to the car lot. So my still thing, we're going to end when I leave the car lot. Actually, it ended when I arrived because I know there were Trinklies following me, and they were like, "Why is she going near the car lot?" I know they were because they were already heckling and speaking while we were miles away at the bus stop waiting on the bus. So as I'm nearing the car lot, I'm like, okay, so Dr. Sweet Pea, your moment of still thing is over. Trust me, around this time, everybody's phone is ringing. They're huddling, trying to find out why I am at the car lot when they thought that I was just getting ready to sleep in front of the library. So now they're calling all kind of recovery teams and all kind of landlords and leasing agents and everybody like they know I owe someone. So, of course, I head back home. And so I still thought again the next day, um, to go back to the car lot. When I left the car lot with my vehicle, I knew Dr. Sweet Pea, it was going to be on and popping like some popping corn and some turbo grease of heat steam. But the fancy kind of popping corn machine where the lid was not going to come off because they cannot let any see the lid come off. So the car is checked off on the checklist. And then where do we go now? To find a gig. We're going to get us some street cash. I'm thinking when I'm looking for my gig, if I keep it incognito as a gig, it's going to be boring because I'm just going to be an average Joe worker cutting a paycheck. And that's not really street cash. Street cash is more of um what I got hired to do. That was street cash. Being seen every now and again is street cash. Working for a pizza joint as a delivery person is street cash. You're gonna show up, you're gonna knock on the door, you're gonna get them their pizza. And whether they give you monetary or tip, if you're Dr. Sweet Pea, it do not matter. It is still continued and jolted as street cash. You do not have to have street cash to flaunt it. It's just a perk that you made your transaction, whether you're entitled to anything or not. You know, the whole thing here is to be seen because it's on the checklist. So I was seeing, you're not going to believe the reactions of them seeing me. Number one, flaunting my vehicle. And number two, obtaining street cash. It turned into a war zone out there. They were livid. Very. So I did not know how far it went, who all were involved in the deepness of being very raw. That is when it came to me having to do some odd hours. Now I've got to show up on the camera. So I took to a couple of my banking financial institutions. What better way to show up on camera? Firstly, I'm showing up on camera, going to an ATM. As a walk up, I'm showing on camera going to the ATM as drive through. But here's the thing, if any know me, they're thinking, no way, she don't have a vehicle. No, no way, she do not have a job. She's not making street cash. So I decided to do that a couple of times, and I said, now, Dr. Sweet Pea, we're gonna do this about 5, 6 times, and then we're just gonna wait for someone to rock the boat. I am not speaking to peers right now. I'm speaking to banking employees and claim employees. So then I started hearing rumors that Square Bank was very angry, off topic of what I am speaking about. And they're saying, hey, they foot the bill for my vehicle. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, what is they talking about? Uh I did not go into the car lot with a bag full of cash and dump it on a desk and say, hey, give me a vehicle. You know? So here it is now. Someone wants in on my thunder. What better way to make me look bad on the street corner? It was their next attempt. Now, someone has got to be the hero as to why I have a vehicle and a job. And to gain a team. Because if you hear something like that, especially if it is your family member or business partner, you're going to run over and you're going to join in and be like, oh, hell no, we're going to get that money back. Dr. Sweet Pea scored again. So finally, here we go. Here comes the gossip. Uh, and things started just getting crazy out there. My phone broke. I had to go and purchase another phone within seconds. All kind of things were happening. Some of the business were getting together, and having meetings and speaking on their phones behind my back, thinking I didn't hear the whole conversation. I heard every conversation, each and every conversation, all the way down to them putting out hits saying they want me fired on every occasion. Then it turned to them silently selling my car to some entertainers. Then it turned into my car was only one car. Everyone was requesting. Seems that I were modeling it very well. It started becoming in demand. So a lot started wanting my vehicle. Then came their next plan to make it seem like the vehicle was not all that and fully equipped and not the hottest thing on the market anymore. So they started doing all kind of street sounds, which could later be used to make it seem like it was my vehicle making those sounds. So now you have construction involved, which is very scary, especially for weekends, because that is all you basically see a lot of times is construction now, making a whole lot of noise on the side corners, fixing the pipes and the drains and redoing the roads and all of that stuff. Surely none of those sounds were being jolted and saying that my vehicle were raggedy. When my vehicle purred better than a kitten. And then I started hearing the rumors and they were upset and saying that my vehicle was too quiet. They needed loud. Um, so I try to turn it into a positive and say, hey, being that my street job, making street paper, at times interactions, going into people's residential area, okay, I might be just a little too quiet, and my vehicle might be just a little bit too quiet. I can understand how there could be a little tension with ones not knowing that someone has entered their residential area. So, so much happened. And then, so here it is, Square Bank, all of a sudden, here it is, their headline that they footed the bill for all this. I'm like, no, stop it. Because you're supposed to do, if you're in there anywhere in the billing area, what you did on other transactions, bill me. You're supposed to look on there, and I ain't supposed to do the reaction as a reaction as I did other times Square billed me. And I'm supposed to what? Pay it. Which means I am still in control, the sole owner of everything. So what is they talking about? They should not be in anything that I have going on. Nothing. Not even a conversation. So I took my hand and wiped to the left, them out of the way. Who is they? Now, Let's get to my vehicle. So then they started getting rough with my insurance company and my vehicle, and started feeling like the plans of pricing and billing were not high enough for me. Then they decided to have a huddle and decided they're just gonna try to wipe out the whole insurance business there as demoters and put them all the way down at the bottom of the insurance chain. But that did not work because when everyone started finding out who my insurance company is, they went high in demand, just like my vehicle. And what happens? Those that were making those attacking plans, they were enraged there, and they threw a tantrum. So, as Dr. Sweet Pea, I gained enough evidence and everything to go and do my summaries and all of that stuff on a lot of things. So I gave my vehicle about a 4 or 5 day hiatus of arrest. There was really no need for me to drive my vehicle. I ain't need any street cash. My vehicle, when I drove it home, parked it, was great, outstanding. Went down the street, went up the hill, and I parked it for about 4 or 5 days until I decided to drive it again. And I went out, crank it, drove off, and we're out for about 15 minutes to 30 to an hour. And then next thing you know, my car went kapooey. My car went kapooey. And that is how, the ones that threw the tantrum continued to throw the tantrum. Because now their thing is, then they'll just attack my vehicle. They have enough recordings to make it sound like my vehicle was already raggedy.